You open the app to unwind, maybe for 5 minutes, maybe just to check one thing, and somewhere between the first scroll and the last, something shifted. You're not sure what happened exactly. Nothing bad occurred. Nobody said anything cruel. You didn't read upsetting news. But you put the phone down feeling worse than when you picked it up. A little flat, a little restless, maybe vaguely irritated at yourself and not entirely sure why. That reaction isn't weakness. And it isn't random. It's your nervous system responding to something it was never built to handle, and doing exactly what it was designed to do. In this video, we're going to look at what's actually happening inside your brain while you scroll. Because once you understand the mechanism, the feeling starts to make a lot more sense. Here's what makes social media anxiety so disorienting. You're sitting still. Your thumb is moving. Nothing dramatic is happening on screen. From the outside, it looks like the least taxing thing a person can do. But that's not what your nervous system is experiencing. While you scroll, your brain is doing several things simultaneously. It's scanning for social information. At the same time, it's tracking what other people have and what you don't. It's also waiting for feedback. A like, a reply, a reaction. That may or may not arrive. And it's quietly running threat detection on every piece of social data it encounters. That's not just a metaphor. That's a reasonably accurate description of what the research shows is happening at the neurological level when people engage with social media. The real question isn't, why does social media make me feel bad? The real question is, why does something that looks so passive on the outside awaken so many emotions on the inside? There are 3 reasons, and they all run at the same time. The first mechanism is reward. Likes, comments, shares, and reactions aren't just social courtesies. They're feedback signals. And the brain treats social feedback the same way it treats other meaningful rewards. Brain imaging studies have found that social feedback through the like feature activates reward-related regions, including the ventral striatum and nucleus accumbens, the same areas involved in other forms of reward anticipation. Social information more broadly is processed by the brain's reward systems, which is part of why being noticed, acknowledged, or validated can feel disproportionately powerful. But here's the part that actually drives the behavior. The reward is unpredictable. Sometimes a post gets 20 responses, sometimes it gets none. Sometimes a comment lands warmly, sometimes it disappears into silence. That variability isn't a flaw in the design. It's the feature that makes the social media reaction loop so hard to exit. Unpredictable rewards produce stronger behavioral patterns than predictable ones. The brain doesn't disengage when the reward is inconsistent. It increases its checking behavior because the signal might be there if you just look one more time. So the app feels passive, but your nervous system is quietly on alert, like it's waiting. The second mechanism is social comparison, and it operates largely beneath conscious awareness. A critical review of the research found that passive social media use, as in scrolling rather than actively posting or messaging, is especially likely to produce upward comparison and envy. In plain terms, scrolling lets you see other people's edited highlights without seeing their full reality. And the brain, without being asked to, begins measuring. Your career against theirs, your body against theirs, your weekend against theirs, your relationship, your apartment, your skin. The comparison doesn't announce itself. You don't consciously think, I am now comparing myself to this person and feeling inadequate. You just notice, eventually, that you feel smaller, flatter. Suddenly, you feel vaguely dissatisfied with something you were fine with 20 minutes ago. That's not exactly a character flaw. It's more what happens when a social brain is given an endless, curated stream of other people's best moments and asked to process it as normal information. The third mechanism is the one that ties everything together, and it's the least talked about. Your brain has a threat detection system that evolved to monitor your social environment. In its original context, that meant tracking whether you were accepted or excluded by the people around you. Because social exclusion, for most of human history, carried real survival consequences. That system is still active, and it has no way to distinguish between a genuine social threat and a mildly unflattering comment under a photo. Research has found that problematic social media use is associated with attentional bias toward negative emotional information. This means that the mind becomes more primed to notice threatening or self-critical cues while scrolling. Like when you encounter someone who posts more than you, or you find out there was an event you weren't invited to through a friend's photo dump, or when you find a comment that could be read two ways. The brain flags all of it. And because the feed never ends, the threat monitoring never gets to conclude. There's no moment where the nervous system can assess. The next post is always loading, so the loop runs continuously. Reward anticipation, comparison, social threat detection, all three at once. That's a significant amount of hidden work for something that looks, from the outside, like just checking an app. None of this means social media is inherently harmful, or that you need to delete everything. What it does mean is that your nervous system responds to social media as if the stakes are real, because to the parts of the brain that process social information, they are. And once you understand that, you can start to use these platforms in ways that work with your biology instead of against it. The first is reducing the reward loop, not the app itself. Turn off non-essential notifications. Remove home screen badges. Check in batches rather than responding to every ping. The unpredictable reward signal is what drives compulsive checking. When you reduce the frequency of cues, you reduce the pull of the loop. This fits directly with what we know about social reward processing and variable reinforcement. The second is shifting from passive scrolling to intentional use. Passive scrolling, moving through the feed without purpose, is the mode most likely to trigger comparison and envy. Intentional use is more likely to feel like genuine connection. Message someone directly. Post with a specific purpose. Unfollow accounts that consistently leave you feeling smaller, and give more attention to ones that leave you feeling grounded. The goal isn't less social media. It's more deliberate social media. The third is learning to recognize fear of missing out, or FoMO, before it escalates. Fear of missing out is one of the most well-documented drivers of compulsive social media use. It's also one of the most interruptible. Before you open the app, a simple question can help. Am I checking for information, for connection, or for relief? If the honest answer is relief, if you're opening the app to quieten a feeling rather than to meet a real need, that's a signal worth pausing on. The fourth is noticing what happens in your body, not just your thoughts. If you close a session feeling tense, restless, or strangely low, that's useful information. You can't always catch the comparison or the threat response in the moment, but you can notice the physical signal afterward. When you do, look away from the screen. Feel your feet on the floor. Take one slow exhale. You're not trying to logic yourself out of the feeling. You're giving the nervous system a signal that the social scan is over and nothing requires a response. And finally, make real social reward more available than digital social reward. The brain responds to genuine social connection with the same reward systems that social media is trying to borrow. A direct conversation, a text to someone you've been meaning to contact, a brief moment of real acknowledgement. These tend to satisfy more cleanly than waiting for an unknown number of likes from an unknown set of people on an unknown timeline. The less the nervous system has to guess and wait, the less it stays on alert. If social media leaves you feeling worse than when you started, that's not a sign that you're too sensitive. It's a sign that your brain is responding, quite accurately, to a stream of social information that combines reward, comparison, and threat monitoring all at once. Your nervous system is doing what nervous systems do. The difference is that it was built for a world where the social stream had natural edges. Where the day ended, the group dispersed and the scan could close. The feed doesn't close, but you can. Not because you need to be disciplined, but because your biology already knows how to rest. It just needs the signal that it's allowed to. One ordinary moment of looking up from the screen. That's where it starts. If this video gave you a clearer picture of what's actually happening when you scroll, a like helps calm science reach more people who might need to hear it. And if you'd like more calm, science-backed explanations of how your brain and nervous system work, please subscribe. There's a new video every week. I'd also love to hear from you. Which part of social media do you find most activating? The comparison? The waiting for feedback? Or something else entirely? Leave it in the comments. And if you want to keep going, the next video is on your screen right now. Until next time, be kind to your mind.